I think it should. I don't see why not. I'm probably gonna have to modify the bracket, get it to fit in here. This is an exciting moment, an exciting, well, video. It's more a moment. But I got my carburetor parts. So, simple stuff, nothing too crazy. Just the emulsion tube, I think is what it's called. I could be wrong. And some jets and some O-rings. Just to seal this thing up, make it nice and nice. So, I want to get this out of the way so that I get a straight shot to the bolts. But yeah, so carburetor parts, along with this oil catch can, oil separator. I think this will work because it's a case breather. So I was thinking about mounting it in here just to give it something to breathe and something to catch in case it sumps a little bit. So I want to get that in. Fuel filter, same fuel filter that I use on the Fat Boy, has given me no issues. I just put a little like plastic conduit over it and it ends up pretty much right in there. Several years, tens of thousands of miles, one accident, no issues. So I'm thinking that's good. But step one, we're gonna pull this bowl off. And this should be completely dry. It's been sitting over the winter. But I had gone through this carburetor when I first got it running, but I was not fond of how the pilot jet and the tube for the main jet looked. You know, it was really, really crusty. So after driving it around, I think there definitely was something going on. I mean, it idled really, really good, but when you tried to get on the throttle somewhat aggressively, it would do some funky stuff. Which one is it? This one. I think it's this one. But yeah, so it would do some funky stuff, and just seemed like it wasn't, I don't know, mixture wasn't that good, and also I think it may have been a little lean. So fresh pilot jet, hopefully we're gonna find out. Hopefully I got the right size. All right, yeah, this is kind of how it looked like when I, a little funky, but that'll do. Just make sure the float still works. Yep, all good. All right, let's pull the main jet and the pilot jet out. See what size they are. Yeah, you can see how this was pretty crusty. In fact, even just blowing on it, yeah, this carburetor was crusty as hell. Do I have to remove this gasket? I got a new gasket just in case, because you never know. Oh yeah, probably should have. You know what? Why take a chance? So let's get this tube off, and then we can take a closer look and hopefully figure out what size these are. No guarantees, but you can get an idea of what this thing looked like and why. You go there. Don't move. All right, let's take a look. I mean, maybe it's not horribly bad, but you know, any little thing, I don't know. For what this thing cost, my thought process was, why take a chance? Now, reading it, oh, that's a different story. This thing should pop off. Nice. Nice. Yeah, you could see just like everything's just crusty. But considering, I mean, it ran really well. So I got a jet kit, master jet kit from S&S. Hopefully has the sizes that I need. And then the new tube, which is nice and purty. There you go. All right, one part installed. So after a little cleaning and examining with my worn out eyes and with glasses, I still couldn't see anything. So trust the iPhone. The Pilot Jet $295 and the main jet $72. So $295 and $74 because I wanted to give it that little bit extra. So that's what I have ready to go in the carburetor. Nice and nice, I like that. And fingers crossed that she responds to that little jet change. That's going to be too big for that one. We'll get this jet. Now, the cool part is I can bring, and I will bring, the jets with me and the tools to do it. So worst case, I can do a jet change. One of the cool parts, right, about an old carbureted bike is you can do that on the side of the road. I hope I don't have to, but you can do it. So, that out of the way, let's see, this is supposed to be the new gasket for the bowl. I actually ordered pretty much 2 of everything except the jet kits to do the fat boy, because that one, she's a little fat. That's for another day though. For now, I just want to hear this thing run. I want to ride it. I mean, it's quite a bit away from riding. The rear wheel is still loose, it's just on. Front wheel, also still loose, just on. No front brakes, I gotta bleed them. Risers are missing the bolts. Why? Because I screwed the threads up. So I have to clean that up, hence the 1/2" 13 die. Oh yeah, and the brake lines are not bolted up because I didn't have the right bolts. So I'm hoping one of these will work with some washers and spacers. And I don't know. A little bit of a Hail Mary. But first step is this carburetor. Now, we get this back together. Oh, yeah, it's a pretty carburetor. I think S&S did a good job. I mean, I don't know when this carburetor came out, but I talked to guys that have been to Harleys a long time, and it seems like this carburetor was invented in the Stone Age. But you know what? When something works, leave it alone, right? I mean, that's the one thing. I think it was my friend Jimmy. He was like, you'll never get stuck with an S&S because there's nothing that'll clog it, you know, really clog it. It's like all the tolerances, the passages are just huge. I don't know how true that is. I hope it's not 100% true, because if that's the case, then changing out these tubes and stuff is not gonna make it run or accelerate any better. But I figure it can't hurt. And again, for the cost, relatively inexpensive. Oh, relatively inexpensive. Oh. And I got 2 new O-rings, one for here and one for the spacer, because I think one of them was original. You know, that's the other thing I was thinking. And maybe this is one of those times when they say you shouldn't do too many changes at the same time. Well, that's out the window because I've changed so much. But, you know, I wonder a little bit, could it have been the intake gaskets or even this O-ring causing some potential issues? I don't know. And I guess I'm never going to really know because I'm changing everything at the same time. But also, if the problem's fixed, do I really care? Not really. The Fat Boy has a big spacer and I actually had to make up like a paper gasket for it, which is a little annoying, but I think I saw that S&S makes a bigger spacer, which has me wondering. I was actually thinking about next time that's off, measuring it. Let's not forget this. Measuring the spacer and seeing if that aluminum one, although it's aluminum, and that's more of a, what is it, phenolic, or I'm probably saying it wrong, heat barrier. So, is going to aluminum going to cause the problem? Or do I have to run an aluminum spacer to space it out so that everything lines up in addition to one of these now? Lots of questions. No real answers yet. Come on. Don't be a jerk. Oh, weren't a jerk. Oh, this is cool. This is very cool. All right. Both bolts appear to be started. So I'll drill them down. Not literally, but tighten them down gently. Yeah, there you go. Then I can put this stuff on for the last time. Oh, come on, don't be a pain. Seriously. Why do I feel like I've had this problem before? Not on the bottom, though. Not on the bottom. I don't want to do the one and not the other. So you know what? I'll deal. Hey, look at that. Let's get the bottom nice and snug. Oh, nice. Very nice. Get these cables. It's nice to be able to do it with nothing really in the way. I probably could have done it before putting the carburetor on, but I got all the slack out of the cables, so not the biggest deal in the world. All right, so the pull side will go in here. Yeah, come on. It really isn't that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. No, it's not that difficult. It really isn't. I say that as I struggle. No struggle. There you go. So, look, throttle. Now, this should pop just right on too. Why? Because plenty of slack in the cables. Will it go high enough? No, I don't think so. May have to put it in here. And then Get it in. Get it in. Get it in. Beautiful. You know what? For the hell of it, let me just spin these out. Just until there's a little tension, right? I'll do a final adjustment because obviously it's not, snaps back fast enough. Yeah. That'll do for now. I was actually wondering about these, so what I was thinking of doing is just zipping them to this so they stay kind of tucked and out of the way. I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm probably going to rework this at some point just because I feel like it's going to break. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's going to break. Maybe in the end, mounting this underneath, shorter, I don't know. We'll see. That's what test rides are for, right? For now, it's going together more or less the way it came apart. Let's see. Oh, this has to... Oh, the whole engine has to go over a little bit. That works. All right. Get this out of the way for a sec. Yeah, it just seems long. I don't know. I guess I have to see when I got the tank on, like, how far down does it go? Like, does the tank go? Can I raise the horn up? I don't know. I am uncertain. So, that's why, for the moment, this did work for, well, the few hundred miles that I put on it. We'll get this snugged. Need a little piece of vacuum tube. The one that came off was kinked. Makes no sense. Like, you need to give it some room or something. I don't know. Loop it. I'll figure it out. All right, let's see. Let's try to get things lined up somewhat. That'll work. Till I get closer to snug, which is... No, it's got a nylock. I think that's what I'm feeling. The little details, the little details. Let's see. Yeah, we'll line that straight. Norman, Oklahoma. You know what that is? Spam call. Has anyone else been getting a zillion of them? It's like, is there nothing we can do about it? I don't know. I don't know. How do I do this one now? Let's see. If I... I don't have enough hands. Oh. Oh, there you go. That worked. You know what? Let's see. Make it nice and snug so it snaps. Oh, that ain't going nowhere. Okay. It could actually run right now. I'm not going to do that, but it could. I'm not going to do that because I'll be too tempted. And there's still way too much to do. Well, because this brake line, I think, because this brake line is from a 96, I think that's why it doesn't quite match up the way the original one did. So I got to use some washers. and a slightly longer bolt to get it away from the bottom part of the stem that sticks out. So this should work. It may not be the prettiest, but I'm kind of less worried about that. I need it to function. Functionality is key. So I get it kind of lined up and tight, I'll be good with it. All right, just kind of want the brake lines to look sort of even. I think that'll work. Yeah, that'll do. And then I can bleed this thing. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I bled this the last time when I changed this master cylinder. So, should be fairly straightforward. I mean, I'm hoping the bleeders are still free. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But, you never know. No. My luck, they were pretty good. Oh, that's got some fluid in it. Huh. Maybe I'll get a hose and try not to make as much of a mess. We'll start with this side because it's easy. Just pop this on there. Come on. And I guess we'll see what we get. Got some fluid. Lots of air. But it's coming. It's taking the fluid though. Looks like I'm actually getting fluid out of this one. Which means I gotta move on to the other one. This makes it a little less messy. There's actually a vacuum pump that goes to this, but I don't know. This it didn't work too well last time with the vacuum pump for whatever reason. So I'm not gonna do it this time. But how am I gonna do this? I think I'll just do this. And this way, yeah, this might work. This might work. All right. Let's see. Oh, well, it's doing something. I don't know if it's doing the right thing. It's doing something. All right. Let me keep at this for a minute. See if I can't get a handle. I think I got a good pedal. Handle, whatever. Let's see if I got brakes. Brakes would be important. Let's see. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. That feels solid. That feels solid. Whew. I'm gonna keep an eye on, I guess, the calipers. Make sure they don't do anything funky. That's what the test rides are for, right? Chris keeps stressing, need to put this thing through its paces. I think I will. I don't see an issue with putting it through its paces before we leave for Sturgis. I mean, we'll see. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to address these riser bolts. I wonder if I can get the tap. It's just the edges that got a little messed up. I didn't realize I'd end up having to reuse them. And, well, I have to reuse them. But they were so just jammed in there that I got a little overzealous. Don't get overzealous. Let me see. Let me get the tap or die and see if I can finagle something. So I have it started. I think this is definitely an unconventional way to do this. But if it goes on enough to clean the threads, because it's just, again, the very first thread essentially. So if this goes on enough to clean the threads, that's about all that's going on. Oh. Moment of truth. I actually brought a nut, not the one that's going to go on here, but a different nut as a kind of a test. Oh, I don't know. Whew. We'll see. This thing threads on, and I think we're in business. Oh, I was worried I was gonna have to take this whole thing apart, pull those out, but I think we're in business. Oh, this is a good feeling. This is a good feeling. Let's see. Try that other side. Wonder if my luck will continue. We're gonna find out. Bless you. Let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm doing, but actually I can't really see what I'm doing, so let's just try to get it sort of started. Doing the right way? I'm doing the right way? I think the other one was worse, so if anything, this should probably go easier. This one's certainly a little more awkward than the other side because I can't really see what I'm doing. But if it feels good and it feels like it's going in, sometimes you just got to do things by feel and feel shavings, which I guess that's what you want. I mean, it's gotten quite a few turns at this point. I have to think it's going in. Oh, come on. Make my day. Oh, it feels all right. Yeah, I feel all the shavings coming. Make my day. Let's just go until it basically snugs up and pull it out. Oh, this is a score. This is a score if it works. Halfway there. Halfway there. All right. Here's the test. If I feel this thing screw on, crisis averted. That's a good one. And this was like $5 off of Amazon because I didn't have the right size die. So for $5, I saved myself a hell of a lot of work. This was really the thing that was keeping me from buttoning up the top and everything. Because if I had to take this thing apart, that would have just been, ugh. All right. I think this will do it. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Feel good. Feel good. and feel nice and snug. Oh, you know what would help? I'll tell you what would help. Come on. Come on. I didn't screw you up. But I'll tell you what would help. If, let's see, what did I do with them? If I put these on, well, this, that would definitely help tighten this up. All right, for the final time, let's get this thing together. Oh, you know, I was actually thinking about it too. I was like, well, let's say I get this thing running and I don't have the risers completely snugged down. In my head, I'm thinking, well, if I just bolt this down, the risers can't come flying out, right? Which would have been really a stupid move, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Oh. Oh. Very nice. Throw the other side together. Sometimes things work out. This was one of those times. I feel like I've had that with this bike more than once, where things kind of just worked out. Like third gear, where it was just not there, and then a little bit of penetrant, a little bit of lubrication, a little bit of cleaning out, and then all of a sudden it had third gear, and fourth and fifth. That was a score and a half. Let's see. You know what? I don't even need the extension. Just go right on it. Yeah, it feels good. Oh. Oh, that ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna grab the other side just as good. Oh, something about working on these old bikes, huh? You can just be kind of a little bit of a gorilla. Oh, solid. Solid. Whew. That was a good one. Now, I guess I got to see if that catch can is going to work the way I think it is. Yeah, I think it should. I don't see why not. I'm probably going to have to modify the bracket, get it to fit in here. Piece of advice. Don't fall over. That hurt. But not going to let it stop me or delay me. This is the thing I want to get in there. And I thought about, like, I could probably even tuck it up in here somewhere, but I think hidden works better. I think up in here. So once the seat's on, nobody knows anything. And I can just run this hose like over. I want to keep it away from the clutch cable and the exhaust. And the fitting points up. So what do? What do I do? Well, I guess if I run it up against here and then up to maybe this hose, which is not particularly attached to anything. I gotta fix that. Maybe that arc will keep it away from the clutch. Get this thing back over towards the carburetor. Should get a new one of these. I don't remember where it goes. Oh, yeah, that's right. It goes up inside here. I bet you this went behind the push rod tubes. I want to say that's how I have it on the Fat Boy too. which makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, that works. So yeah, if I come up from here, go over this, it'll clear. That might work, Rabbit. That might work. Don't get old, my friends. If there's one piece of advice I can offer anyone, if you can avoid it, don't get old. Ugh. Stupid stuff you used to bounce back from. Even an accident. Man, you know, there's so much truth to that, to those memes where they're like, when you were younger, you know, you could, I don't know, jump off a garage roof and bounce off the floor, and, you know, you'd be back running later that day or whatever. And now, you sleep wrong, and you're out of commission for like 2 weeks. Don't get old, my friends. You know, it might not seem like much, but the speedometer head and the speedometer cable are in. We'll see if that works. The carburetor's back on, the new jets and stuff, and well, we'll see if that works. The brakes are bled. They do seem to work, so that's exciting. Oh, okay. Few more steps. Few more steps. Step one. Sit here and pretend to ride. Risers are solid. It's another thing. That worked. Oh, yeah. Be nice if I had a seat. But, hell, I'd ride this thing like this. All right, enough playing around. Back to work. So, I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to stay. But, only because I feel like it's going to vibrate. That said, that's where I want to mount the catch can. And it took a little finagling. Beat the bracket, cut it a little bit, put a screw. But I think, I get this feeling that some sort of zip tie to hold it in place is gonna, yeah, it's gonna probably be required. I could probably crisscross it though. We'll see. But for now, it's in place and I can run the hose. So I like that. And I think it's like completely under where the seat goes. So you won't even see it. I mean, if you looked from here, you could see the filter. But that's kind of cool because it allows it to breathe. At least I think. I don't know. I hate second guessing myself. But I think that's the best case scenario for what I'm trying to do, which is catch any puke and still allow the motor to breathe. All right. That's where it's going for now. It ain't going to break in startup. So it's good there. Now just to figure out how to run the hose the way I want. I thought about a few different things. I thought about actually maybe running the hose up like over here. But I got to play with it. I got to get underneath, get this hose loose, and get a nice long length of hose in place so I can kind of see which direction I want to go with it. I think that's next step. But sometimes things bad happen, right? Things that are bad happen, but they actually end up being a blessing in disguise. So I get home late, it's dark. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna pull that breather hose out, right? Because it's running this way right now because it was originally running to the carburetor, and I want to run it to the breather. So I get up underneath this thing, and let me tell you, this thing is nasty as hell under there. Some brake clean will probably help, but I don't know how much. Anyway, for anyone that has one of these, I don't know if this was all of them or this one may have been changed in the past. I can't speak to that, but the fitting that comes off the crankcase, the tube is so thin it literally snapped the second I touched it to try to undo one of the crimp clamps. So now I'm screwed, right? I have no fitting. But it gave me the chance to replace that setup with a two-piece fitting that actually angled down. And that allowed me to run the breather hose, because I was worried about how I was going to get it over here. Well, now I ran it underneath, up with the rest of the hoses, and clamped right here. So she's all done. Another thing I was worried about was this vacuum line, having to find a way to, I don't know, loop it or whatever. Well, you'll notice it's not looped. This is actually the coolant overflow hose, well, a piece of the coolant overflow hose from my Ducati 959 Panigale, which had the perfect bend. I trimmed it, put those crimp clamps on. As you can tell, I'm a fan of the crimp clamps. Harley used them. It makes sense to me. So that's on. I have the fuel line run. No crimp clamp here, only because in case I have to remove it. But everything else is crimp clamped. And I think this thing's going to run in a very short amount of time. So I'm going to assemble the air cleaner and put the gas tank on. That's a big sign, right? A sign of how much faith I have in this. The gas tank is here. So I'm going to assemble the air cleaner, put the gas tank on, finish trimming the fuel line, and I think we're going to have this thing running and warming up and seeing how good of a job I did assembling everything. But I'm excited. So I'm going to continue with this thing. And then hopefully, before the end of this video, we go for a ride. That's the end goal. That's why everything is tight, everything is bled, is we go for a ride in this thing. Getting to this point in the project makes me nervous. Should be a gasket there. I can add that. But yeah, getting to this point in the project makes me nervous because, well, we're about to see for real whether or not the work is done right. Like, up until now, I'm not saying that, oh, the work wasn't done, blah, 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 whatever. But up until now, this is like the Schrodinger's cat of Harley Davidsons, right? Because it should be done right. It should run, but will it run? Nobody knows until you actually attempt to make it run, right? So everything could be perfect, or everything could be completely screwed up. And it's both. It's both at the same time until you open the box. That's the whole Schrodinger's cat paradox, right? The cat is both alive and dead at the same time until you actually look to see whether the cat is alive or dead. Well, this Harley is either alive or dead until I go to start it up. And then we know for certain whether it's alive or dead. I'm not saying I don't have faith. I'm just saying it's that moment of truth, right? So that's why it makes me nervous, because there's no going back. Once you open the box and you know for certain whether that cat is dead or alive, and whether this Harley runs or doesn't, you can't close the box back up and say, well, I think it's alive or dead again. You know for certain if it's alive or dead. Unless you believe in the multiverse theory, in which case then it's both alive and dead at the same time, simply on two different timelines. But that's a whole different story. A story not for today, because today I have faith that we are in the timeline where the Harley, the 84 Tour Glide Classic here, this is where the Tour Glide runs. I'll leave that non-running timeline for someone else. I know this is going to come apart again anyway, because I'm going to want to put like a K&N or something. But it is cool to have this filter because this was the original filter from the Fat Boy, so it lives on. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and upgrade this at some point. Oh yeah. I wish there was a better bolt for this too. I wonder if there is. I probably could find something. Probably could find an Allen or something or other instead of the Phillips, which I'm not the most fond of. Because even if I don't tighten them down a lot, they end up so everything loosens up, right? Every nut and bolt you put on a Harley loosens up, falls out. These bolts, for some reason, tighten up to where I can't remove them. I don't know. Laws of physics, or what's that other one? Murphy's Law? Yeah, maybe it's Murphy's Law. Oh, okay. That was surprisingly easy. And that means there's honestly one step left before this thing makes noise or explodes. Nervousness building up. But no use in postponing this. Oh, let's get this thing on there. I gotta undo the fuel line first, which I don't know if it's tight. Nope, this side's not. I'll end up. Oh, all right. Let's not damage it more than it already is, and slide it in place. I'm gonna redo these. Probably right now. I'll redo them with crimp connectors, crimp fittings, whatever. Because I like them. I said that before. And I could probably use those for something else. Which means I got to decide on a final length for this. Because I ran it long. There's no reason for it to be long. But it shouldn't be too short either, right? I can maybe zip it to that. That makes sense. Oh boy, the gas tank's on. Ugh. All right, neither here nor there. Let's get this thing figured out. If I zip it here, I need it about that long. Measure twice, cut once, or just send it. What are you gonna do? Either way, this one's a little bit of a snug fit. So I'm gonna just shove it up here first. See if I can't get it on. If that doesn't work, oop. I'm gonna put it on the hose and then just kind of force it in place. Probably not the recommended. Yeah, it's not bolted in. I wonder. Bolting it in would probably help. I think that's about right. And I'll zip it up out of the way. Crimped. Ooh, we're 3 bolts and a little bit of fuel away from seeing what the hell happens. Well, 3 bolts, 1 zip tie, and a fuel line away from seeing what happens. But that's close enough. I don't even know if this is necessary, but I'm just a fan of why take a chance. If I can zip something up even if it's not super tight, just something that holds it out of the way. I like it. I'm satisfied. Let's see. I don't remember. This is not the bolt that came off, or nut that came off. I actually had to use that for something else. I think it might have been the risers, but I'd rather have the original with the nylock there and use this on a place where I can access, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me, which in the end is the only person it really needs to make sense to. So we'll go with that. Oh boy, come on. You know what? I'm not even gonna tighten it. That's what I was going to say. Am I not gonna tighten it? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna tighten it before I take it for a ride. But for right now, all I'm trying to do is set the fuel line up so the tank is in place. Let's go on the other side. Fuel line. I'm telling you, nerves are building. Nerves are building. So, last step. I did tighten that bolt. I put the other two bolts in. I have a bit too much fuel line, so I know where it's running. I know where I'm going with it. How snug do I want to make it? Let's see. What do we think? I think that'll work. I mean, we're gonna find out. It's funny. I have people all the time telling me that I'm crazy because I'm taking this bike across country. I'll tell you what's totally screwed up. Oh, it's loose. Okay. Well, we just learned something together. I'll have to tighten that horn up, because that, even though it's up in the air, that was not good. God. Oh, the things I'm certain I'm gonna find on this thing as I start to ride it more. Anyway, people that tell me all the time, they think I'm crazy, that I'm gonna ride this thing across country, and I don't quite get it. I mean, the upside to it, and I say this all the time, is I'm setting it up to be repaired should something happen, right? So like, I love those crush fittings, but here and on the carburetor, I'm not putting the crush fittings, so that if I need to remove this, I can. If I need to remove the carburetor, I can, you know? And it's so mechanical. I mean, honestly, like, we went to Sturgis a few years back. Thankfully, nothing went wrong with Chris's bike. But I took the Fat Boy. And did anything go wrong with the Fat Boy? Absolutely. The voltage regulator, the nuts fell off and it fell out of place. So 2 zip ties later, it was back in place, no problem. The cover for the coil loosened up, and one of the wires for the coil loosened up, which caused a weird misfire. No problem. Literally, you know, flathead screwdriver, adjustable wrench, and I was able to tighten that and fix that up. There was one other issue, which was, I think, a fueling issue. I didn't have jets with me, but all I had to do was not whack the throttle in lower gears, and it was fine. My point is, the few issues that it did have, I was literally able to fix with some zip ties, an adjustable wrench, a couple screwdrivers. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I think this thing is going to have going for it. Definitely things are going to fall off of it. So zip ties is a must. And very kind of generic things. Adjustable wrenches, big one, you know. Probably duct tape. Duct tape's not gonna hurt. Anyway, we're at that point. I legitimately think we're at that point, which is scary. So I have to put some fuel in. I'm gonna guess the fuel that came out of it's still good. Also, I'm gonna guess that if it's not still good, well, it's basically a tractor motor. How worried am I about that? I'm more worried about, you know what? I actually think I hate these newer gas cans. It might work for this particular application. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh God, gas is going in. If you're a praying person, pray for me. Well, that worked particularly well. Let's hope that trend continues. Okay, we're here. This is the moment of truth. This is 100% the do or die. Oh, did I forget anything? I don't care how long you've been doing this. The question of whether you forgot something, the question of whether you didn't tighten something, whatever it is, those are always going to cross your minds. Oh, I'm kind of just digesting where we're at. And I almost need to sit down for this. Oh, yeah. All right. I guess there's no point in delaying this any further. Let's pull the enrichener up. Turn on the ignition. We're in neutral. Wish me luck. Well, it started. I turned the enrichener off. I wonder if that had something to do with it. Interesting. It used to run. Interesting. It's like it has no fuel. It has fuel. Has a fresh filter. Has fuel. Maybe some adjustments. I don't know. Because when I go to give it throttle, it doesn't rev. It doesn't rev at all. So... interesting. I'm gonna play with it. All right. So the slightest adjustment, a touch of throttle, and a little bit more fuel. Let's see if it runs. If it idles, I'll deal with idle right now. Come on. Oh. I'll take this. I'll take idle. Idle's a little low. Oh, now it's revving. You know what? I bet you it was probably a little bit. I got to tweak the air fuel mixture. right? Because I got a fresh pilot jet and I got a slightly different main. The main shouldn't really be bothering with it, but maybe the fresh pilot, maybe that has something to do with it. Oh yeah. Oh, she's alive. Abnormal, but alive. Well, I think we got a pretty good baseline. You know, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Will it ever be perfect? Probably not. But it's definitely good enough, I think, to get it out on the road. Except for maybe that. But that's okay. I'll fine tune the rest of it. And also, I found these carburetors. You could tell me if you believe otherwise, but I found these carburetors to not necessarily be the most snappy. You know, it is what it is. It's old school. I'm good with it. I don't need this thing to be a race bike. You know, I have race bikes. This is fun. This is cruising. This is reliable power, hopefully. You know, I leave the race bike stuff to the race bikes, and we go from there. But I will say, she sounds good. She sounds quiet. She's probably a quart low on oil, because I think I only put 2 quarts in. So definitely going to address that in a second. But overall, yeah, I'm not going to complain, that's for sure. Overall, I like the way it sounds. I think the valve tick so far seems to be not there, which is nice. Hopefully it doesn't come from really getting it nice and hot and you know, riding it. But for now, I've got her idling a little under 1,000. Got her revving pretty good. Getting her nice and warmed up. Let her smoke a bit. I have one dilemma. I don't have a seat. The original seat, well, not the original seat, but the seat that was on this bike when I got it was a Corbin seat. And Corbin will recover your original seats. So my seat's currently in California, getting a nice distressed, like smoke dark gray bomber leather on it. It's probably the only thing on this whole bike that I didn't do myself. But that means that to take this thing for a ride, I don't have a seat. But I have an idea. Well, she warmed up. She ran reasonably. I put another quart of oil in. Oil temps are 175 degrees. I think there's only one thing left to do. Let's go for a ride. The moment of truth. Let's take this thing for a ride. Now, I do not have a seat for it because that's in California. What I have is pillows. So I'm probably going to look ridiculous. But I guess better than not going for a ride. We're doing a completely cold start. So, wish me luck. Let's hit the enrichener, ignition. running. Brakes work. Brakes work. That's a good thing. Oh, she's a running. This makeshift seat certainly is not giving me enough height, I don't think. But not much I can do about it. Also can't really tell if the suspension's any better. I know the rear shocks are on the lightest setting, lightest spring setting. So I'm not sure if the risers are in the right spot, or I should say the risers, the handlebars are in the right spot, because I can't exactly see out of the mirrors right. But that could also be because I'm not high enough. So I'm not going to go too crazy with that until I get the seat back. Hey, the speedometer works. Oh, look at that. And I'm going to say it appears to be somewhat... I should turn the lights on. I'm going to say the speedometer appears to be somewhat accurate. I feel like I'm going about 15 miles an hour. Oh God, that's cool. Hey, so that'll be like the first mile. This is where I'm going to start tracking mileage, because it's like official, right? It's like, it's together, it's official. I think that makes sense. No respect for personal space, I'll say that. Trying to ride the motorcycle for the first time, trying to put the first miles on it, and I got to take a work call. Alright though, let's get back to how she feels. I think it's running good. I don't think I'm going to really hammer on it right now. Maybe a little bit. But I'm psyched that the speedometer appears to be working. She cold started, dropped to an idle. Those minor adjustments worked. Hi, train. I don't think she's making any noise either. Valve train noise. It's nice when, you know, you fix a problem and it seems to work. Oh yeah. Take this. I will take this. I always thought this street was weird because for a small section of it, it's just ginormously wide for no real apparent reason. Actually, I always wondered why. I wonder if there's a way to look it up in the history books. Why from like 16th Avenue to 18th Avenue this street is this wide, and also why is it offset on 18th Avenue? Get a little pressure on it. Seat those rings. .9 miles. This is cool. I can track that now. I can document it. Let's go another block. Well, I mean, I just went through a nice bump and my spine wasn't in like my skull. think that jet size on the carburetor, and probably the emulsion tube and stuff, I think that all helped. I have to think it had to help. Alright, fixing the fixing the pillow to give me a little bit more support on acceleration. Oh boy. This is what I'm going to be staring at for 1,900 miles in just 2 months, a little over 2 months, 2.5 months. This is the time to put it through its paces. Make sure nothing's bad, nothing's gonna break. I am quite content. Quite content with this. Maybe stop at a gas station, top her off. Oh, you know what? I like to put some fuel injector cleaner through it. I can do that. I'll do that later. Auxiliary lights, everything seems to work. I gotta double check this voltage because the volt gauge seems to look low, but I remember it wasn't reading very accurately, so it's probably nothing. But my theory, why take a chance? Better with the seat though to actually support it, or support the butt, because these pillows are not exactly, they're not cutting it, I'll put it that way. Yeah, I'm liking it. Nice job, Progressive. I think this is going to make a nice ride. She'll definitely be a good scooter. I don't know how much I want to push my luck. What the hell is wrong with people? Like, green light. There's your mass transit system, causing mass confusion. Mass confusion system. New York City. This is New York City at its best. Let's figure out a way to screw things up. She's idling good though. A little bit of throttle. It was a little, iffy for me. It was a little nerve-wracking for me when it first fired, because then it stalled. But a little adjustment seemed to work out. It seemed to do all right. 2.9, almost 3 miles. I think I'll head back, let it cool off. I don't want to, again, I don't push my luck too much. With this guy for a minute. complain because there are people around here who don't have any of this space, so you're never going to hear me complain about that too much. Ugh. Take my makeshift seat. Well, I'd say the first ride was a success. Put a little temp in her. Put a little I think she's good. Talk about a good feeling. Well, hopefully I get the seats in, or seat in, put a few more miles on it, get confident enough to actually do a trip, bike night, or hell, maybe a ride to Jersey one morning for breakfast. Just get some miles on it, break it in, change the oil. But I'm going to say this is 100% a successful rebuild, keeping the patina exactly as I wanted to, only upgrading the things that needed to, not cleaning up too much, and everything seems to work. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna let this thing drain the carburetor of fuel, idle till she stalls, celebrate a little bit. So, to that end, thank you everybody for watching, commenting, liking, and making suggestions. I appreciate all of it. As the weather warms up, everybody ride safe. Have a great night. I'll see you out there.